Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, it's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston with defeatyourcravings.com, and I am here with a kind-hearted woman named Kiki, who's been here before and has agreed to share her time with you so you can benefit from her experience and strength and hope and wisdom, as well as her trials and tribulations and stumbles and falls. Right, Kiki?
That's right, Glenn.
So I know you fell down recently with your food, and I think that you're back up. Are you back up?
Yes, I am. Proudly.
I want to just kind of quickly tell everybody what happened and how you got back up, and then we'll talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, sure. It was 15 days ago that we talked, and you helped me out with getting back on track. I gotta give you the best feedback I have for you. Your advice has been a godsend. After 4 days of actually trying to get accustomed to the changes, and I had a couple of mistakes. So after that, for 9 days, the new plan and all the strategies and the advice you gave me, I've been working hard to implement them, and it's working almost too well. So we made some changes to my food plan, to my rules, and you gave me guidance for the first 4 to 6 weeks. It was counterintuitive, especially the part that I need to focus on self-care and actually maybe be at a caloric surplus for a bit. So I've been doing that. I was tempted to take the calories down, but I didn't. I even ate when I wasn't hungry. Basically, right now I'm at a point I am too comfortable. My cravings are too minor. They're not as strong as I would like them to be because I have this notion from following your teachings that when you're trying to extinguish craving for the first 30 days, you go through an extinction curve where the first few days you don't get cravings, but then they're very strong for a few days. And then after 30 or more so days, they subside. In order for you to extinguish the craving, you have to actually experience it. I'm too comfortable. I'd like some advice. Should I purposely try to bring on cravings in order to extinguish them? Or is it okay the way that I'm riding this comfort zone right now?
Let me just kind of summarize for the audience what you're saying and the advice that I gave you, why it's working and what you're asking me now. So you came to me and you had fallen off and you were kind of sliding down deeper and deeper. And we looked at your food plan and I said, well, sometimes, even though there's something you might have been able to do for months and months and months, if you've really fallen off, sometimes you got to roll it back and just take one step at a time in order to get back to where you were. And it usually happens quicker than you got there in the first place. But usually my experience is that people need to roll back and be a lot less restrictive and a lot kinder to themselves. And so I told you that I wouldn't worry about losing weight unless the doctor said it was urgent. For right now, for a couple of weeks, that I just wanted to help you get back on track. That I wanted you to work a lot more in self-regulation, because when the brain feels distressed, that kind of existential angst or something is just wrong and you feel like you need something. It's like, I need something, right? The brain is much more likely to be illogical and indulge the cravings and get you to break your plan than if you are well-nourished and either not losing weight or losing it very slowly, if you're well-slept, if you're well-hydrated, if you are connected to some people that know and love you, even if you're not seeing them, you know that they're there. If you're making fewer decisions, if you just kind of, to the best of your ability, take down the stress level in your life, it gets a lot easier to get through that 30-day extinction curve. The 30-day extinction curve, we talk about it in terms of days. It's actually exposures because cravings come in stimulus cravings pairs. And so the idea is to expose yourself to the stimulus, but not reward it in the way that you're used to. And that over time, your brain stops crying out for that stimulus because we don't cry for things that we're never going to get. We don't really crave things that we know we can never do because it's a waste of energy. And the brain knows that it's a waste of energy. And the brain is very efficient. But up until that time has passed, until you've had really 30, 40 exposures, there's a curve that you go through with initially a stronger craving than you used to have, and then it goes down. Now, Kiki, I warn people that there's something called an extinction burst, somewhere within the 4 to 7 exposure range, usually 4 to 7 days for daily cravings. There's what we call an extinction burst where the brain, it doesn't want to give up what it learned. It thinks that binging is keeping you alive, and it does not want to give up the stimulus craving pair. It doesn't want to give up on it, so it's really testing to see, is this really unavailable or has it just become available at random? And most people reinforce that craving because they say, oh my God, this is worse than it's ever going to be. Their pig jumps in and says, it's always going to be like that and that's intolerable. Therefore, you better give up on this and binge now. And when you do that, you're teaching the brain that it is intermittently available at random, that it was right, and that the next time it should generate an even stronger craving the moment that the reward becomes unavailable. So what you want to do really is nothing and go through that. Now, you don't have to be so uncomfortable to do this operation. Just like it's okay to take Novocaine when you're going to the dentist. That's okay. You don't have to tough it out and really suffer. It's the same procedure one way or the other. The cavities are getting cleaned and filled. Your brain is learning that these cravings don't generate a reward. The discomfort is just there to try to motivate you to listen to the brain and say, oh, don't give up on this, don't give up on this, don't give up on this. It's kind of a miracle that we figured out ways to damp down those cravings so you don't have to be so miserable. It sounds like you are experiencing them, but you're experiencing them with some anesthesia. And the only price you're paying for that really is that you're not losing weight right now. And if it's not urgent to lose weight, then I would say, let's get you through this and then start to cut down your calories slowly so you start to lose weight again. I see no reason for you to make yourself miserable. I see no reason for you to make the cravings worse, and you're not going to win a Cravings of the Year award or something like that. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? How is this landing?
Unexpectedly good news. It's like you're going through heaven, so keep going. I was expecting to hear you say, yes, you need to make yourself uncomfortable. Whatever you're saying is like music to my ears right now.
You don't have to make yourself uncomfortable for the sake of being uncomfortable. You need to not reward the craving. That's what you need to do. And if you can not reward the craving and be reasonably comfortable, that's the best of all possible worlds. That's what we're aiming for.
Right. There was one thing that because I took lousy notes when we had our session, I'm not sure how many weeks you said to follow that path for. I think it was more than 3, but I don't know if it was up to 6 weeks. Or is there like a sweet point for everybody, or are there some kind of signs that will give me the go ahead to start slowly lowering the calories?
Usually what happens before the cravings are almost completely dormant, there's that big extinction burst, like around the 4 to 7 days, but then somewhere in the 20 to 30 day mark, there are a couple of little ones. So if you've passed those couple of little ones, somewhere around 20 to 30 days, and there's just no more coming, then I would say it's okay to start lowering your calories. But I wouldn't drop them by 500 right away. I drop them by 100 and get used to it and then drop by another 100 because you don't want to shock the brain into thinking that you're in a famine situation.
Great. Makes sense what you're saying. I totally get it.
Good. It's like dentists pride themselves on being a painless dentist. A really good dentist gets just the right amount of anesthesia. He's able to administer the anesthesia without you feeling too pained about it. I once had to jump up and walk out of a dentist's office because they were not good at giving the shot. A really good dentist adjusts the anesthesia so that there's really no pain, and you can have a painless experience, even though it's a little uncomfortable and it's not a fun thing to go through. It doesn't have to be painful. And it sounds like you're experiencing that.
Glenn, a question has come up like for the last few hours, a question for you, a new question that I didn't schedule came up. So it's really related to the subject we're talking about. So it's about stopping a habit that started to form 2 to 3 days ago. So my rule is to not never again go below 1800 calories per day, per calendar day, but not go over 2200 calories per day. And the first 3 days of the recovery, I made sure I took advantage of the 2200 like maximum. Of course, I like this. And I haven't lowered the maximum, so it's still 2200. And it's 6 meals, basically 3 meals and 3 snacks per calendar day. But the thing is, what happened? My first meal is around 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And my last meal, my evening snack before bed, is around 11 p.m. So it's about 2 to 4 hours between meals. But there were two particularly challenging days, the last 2 to 3 days. And my lunch is at 2 p.m. and my afternoon snack is at 6. So it's 4 hours. And those are the 4 hours that I used to binge during. So those are the danger times. Like, so this is the danger window. So basically, those are like I have my lunch and then my next meal is at 6. But it came times the last 2 to 3 days that it was 4 o'clock and my morning was so exhausting that I felt the need to binge or just eat something. And I calculated my calories. And if I didn't eat anything between my 2 and my 6 p.m., it would be about 1800 by the end of the day. So I was well within my rules. But I could have a 400 calorie snack. So what I did for the past 2 to 3 days, but not today, to point that out, I would like to make that known for the record, that I made myself a meal or a snack that would not exceed the 400 calorie mark. So it wouldn't go over the 2200 calories per day. However, today, 4 o'clock rolled around, and again, I felt kind of tired. And I said, I'm well within my rules to eat a snack between, so a 7 feeding. But I actually thought to myself, and that's my question to you, maybe I need to extinguish eating between my lunch and my afternoon snack. And if I extinguish the act of eating, I actually make it better for me to extinguish the act of binging. So if I don't eat during that time, so for 30 straight days, I never eat between 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. It will make it easier for me to extinguish even the notion or a squeal that says you need to binge between the hours of 2 to 6. So, what are your thoughts?
I think that that's true, but I wouldn't do it yet. I'd give myself another month or so before I added that stress.
Great. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's phase 2. So first of all, I do think that not eating between meals and having periods of fasting between meals is physiologically good for you, and I do think that it helps extinguish the overeating habit overall. But that said, I think that not binging is more important than that fasting period. Because when you're binging, you're doing so much more damage to your body than by just having a healthy snack between meals that it's within your caloric limits. I think that for the next month or so, I would allow that and err towards the 2100, 2200 range, but not let yourself get too hungry. I think for the next month or so, I would do that, and then we could talk about going to phase 2.
I like what you're saying. I really like it.
Yeah, there's no need to torture yourself, Kiki. You could be comfortable on this.
I came into this thinking that, oh, Glenn is going to get bad news. You have to like make it like, oh my God, it's like Christmas morning right now in my head.
No, that's what keeps the binge cycle going when people get overly restrictive and they don't recognize just how much they need to recover to reset their equilibrium and their blood sugar and their dopamine and serotonin levels. And it's an ordeal. You're well on the way, but I would not add any more stressors right now. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. Let yourself have that 7. Yeah. Is there anything else I could help you with?
Not a question, but again, feedback. And so week 1, the video, it says at the end that whatever rule you make sure it's not something like a diet guru said or your doctor said. Make sure that you make your rules your own and that you have constructed your own eating plan, taking into account what the doctors or the diet of your choice, or whatever diet you want to follow, that make sure you make it your own. And at first, when I went through the first week, that didn't really resonate. Now I realize the power in that, because for the last 9 days, like, my rules have made me feel so free, and my food plan is so unique. I think 180 turn. So before we talked 15 days ago, my diet was completely different than what I'm eating right now. I made the changes. It was a lot of work, but for example, my gastroenterologist said that because for my IBS constipation, she diagnosed me with that, to have less unprocessed fiber like leafy greens and seeds. And I've been following that for the last 3 months, and there's really no results. I didn't see any improvement. And I was craving spinach. So after our session, I just went and ate some spinach. I have been eating spinach with my lunch every day. I added fiber, and the order was to actually decrease it. I added meal replacements, which had eliminated 3 months ago. And I made it my own because the doctor said meal replacements are okay because it's processed and it's fine. I actually took bits and pieces of what I liked and what my intuition was. So, and it was my intuition about adding all brown steaks and spinach, like eating them every day. It has made my gut health better than it was for, I think, years. And I did that. Nobody told me you will do that. And so I have to thank myself. So your advice made me feel like I'm my own God in a sense. I hope that makes sense.
Well, first of all, I'm really happy that you're sensitive to yourself and figuring out the right solution and you're getting the results that you want. I'm not legally allowed to countermand your medical doctor's advice because I'm not a medical doctor. But I'll tell you that I've worked with a lot of people who find that their doctor's advice combined with their intuition can work better than their doctor's advice alone. It's not the first time I've heard that. It's certainly something that I do myself. I'm not allowed to recommend that. I'm supposed to say you're supposed to just listen to your doctor. For legal reasons, since we're in a public forum and since I haven't medically assessed anybody, that's what I have to say. Is that okay?
Of course, and that was not advice for somebody to stop listening to the doctors. Of course, I'm so sorry if I made it sound like this.
The thing is that doctors are very rushed and they do their best. I've had a lot of doctors as clients. They really do want to help people, but they're very rushed in today's medical environment. And sometimes they miss something that you're saying, or no matter what you're doing, you kind of have to be your own doctor and be responsible for making sure to tell them all the information and making sure they listen to it and asking them their reasoning and writing it down and trying to figure it out yourself and then going back to them and going to another doctor and getting another opinion. You have to very proactively take care of your health in this society. We can't just put it in the hands of someone else that can see you for 8 minutes. So that's what I think.
Yes, we agree on that.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.